Okay, let's start inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين Amin. Inshallah, I am muting everyone so that we can be more focused while listening. And to whom I will ask to read, then you can unmute yourself or I will unmute you so that you will read and we will discuss about it, inshallah. Inshallah. We are starting Surah Al-Khaf, I think verse 16, the spreading grace, inshallah. So Muhammad will start reading the first two paragraphs and then I'll give other, inshallah. Bismillah. Say Bismillah. Okay, start.
That is the conclusion of
Bismillah.
That is the conclusion of their consultations, and they immediately put it into effect. Hence, now that ye have withdrawn from them and all that they worship instead of God, take refuge in the cave. God may well spread his grace over you and make fitting arrangements for you in your affairs. Verse 16.
In the previous pages, when we read about young men with clear insight, we read about that there was young kids who were in a community, those were not practicing the same thinking and same concepts what those kids were had it. So they didn't accept that thing and they left that place because they were not able to practice their thoughts and their beliefs, because they believe on only one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the other community was disbelievers and they didn't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and say so that's why they left that place. And due to their belief, due to their strong faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put courage in their hearts. And what attitude those youth have, they were very open in their decision, and they were very clear, and they were very straightforward. They were not in any doubt, and their thinking was very strong about our belief on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they were very strong physically, mentally, and they were very, very strong in their faith, and whatever the rejection they were facing from their community, they were very strong to face that as well. So they refuse to act upon like the community. They don't want to go in a flow or go with the majority. They select their life to for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they want to practice that faith. So that's why they left the luxury, the maybe their parents, and because they were youth, they are called as a youth, so they left their family, parents, luxury, life, everything, and they left towards the cave. So here we are just started that that is the conclusion of their consultation, and they immediately put it into effect. So what does it mean? That they all get together, they made a plan, okay, we have to leave this place, and they act upon it. And so that's why in the verse number 16 we can read that hence now that you have withdrawn from them and all that they worship instead of God. So they left everything, whatever their community believe, and they take refuge in a cave, and they just leave everything, and they went far away from their community, and they sheltered themselves in a cave because their community was behind them and they were hiding so they take refuge in cave. God may well spread his grace over you and make fitting arrangement for you in your affair. So that was the background, and when we Muhammad will read next, inshallah, you will understand more. Okay, go ahead.
The surprise here is great indeed. These young believers who have abandoned their families and people and families, forsaking all the pleasure of this life, and preferring instead to sleep
rough
sleep rough in a small dark cave, begin to sense God's grace. They feel it coming easy, comforting, abundant, limitless. It is spread over them to change the quality of their life in the cave. God may well spread his grace over you. Verse 16. Thus the cave becomes like a wide expanse where God's grace is bestowed in abundance to change their whole outlook on life and bring about comfort and contentment. The solid rocky walls of the cave are made to overlook a wide horizon, and loneliness in the cave is totally dispelled. For God has spread his grace over their young hearts, and he takes care of them, arranging something for their comfort.
So as it was a winter break, so many of you experienced your vacation outside your house. How was it? Did you hike? Someone hiked or something like that?
Well, I went snowboarding in Lake Tahoe.
Okay, so how was it?
It was nice, but very cold.
Yeah, I know it will be very cold. So in a mountain, it will be cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and whenever we go for a hike, we can see that there are lots of caves there, right?
Yes.
So did you ever experience going in a cave, sitting in a cave, or spending some time in a cave?
I don't think so.
No, right? Because we think that, oh, it's very uncomfortable. There will be lots of maybe spiders or bugs or anything else. But think about those kids who left their community just because to practice their faith, to protect their faith, because everyone was saying that, okay, if you will stay here in this community, you have to practice our faith. But they prefer their faith, which was believing in one Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They left that place, and that was very rough, rocky and hard place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made very nice and comfortable for them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spread his grace over them. So it's not the matter that you are sleeping in a good beds, you are having very nice rooms, will give you peace, calmness and relaxation, but only connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give you contentment, satisfaction and all the comfort. So wherever you are, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mercy will spread on us every time. Okay, Alim, can you read the next inshallah?
Okay. So this is an aspect?
Yes, yeah, from this is an aspect.
Okay. This is an aspect of what faith can do to a person. All appearances undergo a fundamental change. All that people may value and all their concepts with regard to life and happiness do not matter. When a human heart is full of faith, it sees a totally different world, where God's grace imparts reassurance and genuine happiness. Hence, whatever turn events may take will be accepted. because the total result is comforting and fitting for one's life in this world and in the life to come. God may well spread His grace over you and make fitting arrangements for you in your affairs. Verse 16.
So as I discussed before, that this is a power of faith which gives you which gives you genuine happiness and all the contentment and relaxation. But if when a human heart is full of faith, it sees totally different world. If you have so much trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, Allah is with me, then you will see the world in a different way, other than the people who are having different faiths, like someone is believing in idols and praying to idols. What they think, okay, if I have to give some money, I have to give that, I have to wear this ring, I have to wear this necklace, I have this lucky charm. They have so much disbeliefs and all those things which make them doubtful about their God. But whatever we had very, very strong faith. The more you know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more you read Quran, your faith will increase. But if we are away from these things, then our faith can be weak and we cannot feel this comfort in our life. Okay, inshallah. Next, Isa, can you read the next paragraph? Yeah, these are the with these young people.
Okay. With these young people proceeding to the cave, the story moves on to the next scene. Now we see them settled in the cave or taken by sleep. You might have seen the sun on its rising incline away from their cave on the right, and on its setting turn away from them on the left, while they lay in a space within. That was one of God's signs. He whom God guides is indeed rightly guided, but for him who He lets go astray, you can never find any protector who would point out the right way. You have thought that they were awake when they were suddenly asleep, and you turned them over repeatedly, now to the right, now to the left, and their dog lay at the cave's entrance with its 4 paws outstretched. Had you come upon them, you would have certainly turned away from them in flight, and would surely have been filled with terror of them.
So these were the translation of the verses, which is telling us that the next scene, the first scene we saw that they take refuge in a cave, and now the next scene, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessings over them, that when sun was rise or set, it just set or rise in that way that the sunlight will not go inside the cave. So that was the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that they can sleep easily and they nobody will able to see, and their dog was on the face of the cave, so nobody will dare to enter the cave, and their mystery will be hidden from everyone. Okay, can you read the next paragraph as well?
Okay,
this is a remark. Okay, you are reading from the screen?
Oh, no, this is a remarkable scene. Not only do we see how the young men looked and what they were doing, deliberately moving away from their cave. The word used here is inclining away, imparts a sense of deliberate action taken for a particular purpose. Again, when it is time, the sun remains unseen. All the while, they lay in the space within.
So, in this paragraph, what we can feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the sun inclining away, which means you can highlight this inclining away, and the next line imparts a sense of deliberate action taken for a particular purpose. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that, so it means the sun used to come and give light in the cave. But when the young kids were inside the cave and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them sleep, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give order to the sun that when he rise and when he set, his light should not go in the cave. So it was a sense of deliberate action taken for a particular purpose. So again, when it time for sun to move in the other direction before it sets, it turn away. So these are all just because so that they will be unseen. Okay, Javiria, can you read the next paragraph?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can.
What page are we on?
198 before completing its description.
Suddenly things change totally?
No, can you see the screen?
Oh, okay. Oh. This is a remark before completing its description of the scene. The surah makes a familiar Quranic comment which draws people's attentions to a particular aspect of faith that is relevant at that particular point. That was one of God's signs. It was indeed a great sign, something highly remarkable. They were put in a cave where they could not see the sun nor its rays. It gave them neither light nor warmth. They remained in their position, alive but motionless.
So can you feel that feelings of the young kids? They are in a cave, very dark place, and they're sleeping and sleeping and sleeping, and nobody can see them. Allah, if somebody crossed that place, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the fear in their heart due to the dog, so that they cannot, they don't want to go inside and don't peek inside. So this is a very impressive. Like, I'm really feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy on them, that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect those kids, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them to protect their iman. So but for first step, youth has to take that step, which was believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and go for it. Don't do all those things which our community is doing. Don't get impressed by those who are disbelievers. So the first step is taken by you, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's help will be there, inshallah. Okay, can you read the next set as well?
He whom God guides is indeed rightly guided, but for him who he lets go astray, you can never find any protector who would point out the right way. There is a certain divine law that determines which people may receive God's guidance and which are left in error. When a person looks at God's signs and accepts what they indicate, that person finds God's guidance in accordance with his law. Hence he is indeed rightly guided. But whoever turns his back on these signs and refuses to understand the message they impart is bound, according to God's law, to go astray. Hence he is left in error and will have none to guide him.
So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide only those people who wants the guidance. If you wish that may we be the guided one, and you pray for to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you will be guided one. But if you don't pray for your guidance, you will not get guidance. You will get your clothes, you will get your food, house, shelter, parents, you will get everything without you ask. And most of the things we are getting without asking it. But only and only guidance is the only thing which you have to ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you want to be really guided. If you don't want to be, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give the guidance to those who don't ask for it. So Yusuf, can you finish this next paragraph?
The surah.
Yes.
The surah goes on to show the young people asleep in their cave. They are turned from one side to another in their very long slumber. Anyone looking at them would think them awake when they are fast asleep. Their dog remains at the entrance to the cave, stretching his forepaws like dogs normally do when they rest. He takes the position normally taken by a guard dog. The whole scene would fill any onlooker with terror so as to put them to flight. He would find people looking as though they were awake, but in reality were asleep, unable to wake or move. This was all God's arrangement, protecting them until the time He chose for their awakening.
Barakallahu feek. Can you now? I want Yusuf. Can you explain a little bit the behind the story, whatever we read till here, how they left and what was there, so that I want to know that are you understanding me or you are getting the tafsir?
Yeah, I get what it's saying. Like, when they were sleeping in the cave, Allah protected them, so anyone that came by would not know that they were there. And Allah made sure nothing happened to them until Allah chose the time for them to wake up.
Because when they were sleeping in the as I told before, that when they were sleeping inside, the dog was outside on the face of the cave, and he was spreading his paws like normally dogs do, and whenever somebody passed by that cave, he thought that they are awake, but they were fast asleep, and unable and they were unable to wake or move something, and this was all Allah's arrangement. That was Allah's planning. And see that the dog was at the face of the cave, and the sun is rising and setting from a side so that nobody can see, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting them from the food, uh, from the hunger, because even you are sleeping, when you wake up in the morning you get hungry, right? So they are sleeping long time, for a very very long time, but they are not feeling any hunger. They are protected from the bugs and all the insects and anything that can danger or harm them in the cave. So just feel that blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on them. Okay, inshallah, we'll move ahead and we'll go and read the next as well. Zara, can you read the next one? Zara, are you here?
The surah goes on to show the young people asleep in their cave. They are turned
The sleepers awake. Suddenly things change totally.
Suddenly things changed totally. Such being their state, we awakened them, and they began to question one another. One of them asked, "How long have you remained thus?" They answered, "We have remained thus a day, or part of a day." They said, "Your Lord knows best how long you have remained thus. Let then one of you go with these silver coins to the town, and let him find out what food is perished there, and bring you some of it. But let him behave with great care, and by no means make anyone aware of you. For indeed, if they should come to know of you, they might stone you to death, or force you back to their place. And which case you would never attain to any God.
So that was the translation of verse 19 and 20. So in the next paragraph, we will get to know more about the verse number 19. Can you read that again? Next one.
The element of surprise is always used in Quranic stories in order to enhance the effect. Here, the scene portrays the youths as they woke after their long slumber. They do not realize how long they have been asleep. They rub their eyes and begin to ask one another about what had happened. One turns to the others, asking how long they were asleep for, just like anyone rising after having slept for many hours. He must have felt that this time his sleep was unduly long. And the answer he received from his friends is indefinite. We have remained thus day a part of a day.
So when I was a kid, or sometimes when I sleep in the afternoon and I sleep for a very long time, when I woke up, I thought, oh, did I miss my Fajr? Because I thought that I was sleeping at night. Does it happen to you? Is it happen with anyone? Okay. But sometimes, okay, now just imagine, close your eyes and think about your previous 10 years. Do you think it just fly by? It just went through very fast, or you can remember each and every day?
It went by pretty fast.
Yes, because we feel that whatever goes by, it looks like it went by very fast. Your visit to the Lake Tahoe was very fast. It went by like this, and you're back to your house now. So
Yeah.
in that way, you can understand when the sleepers of the cave wake up and they feel that, oh, how much time we slept, because they didn't know the time. They didn't have any time, because even from the sun, when you can measure the time, you can see, okay, it's morning, it's afternoon, or it's evening, it's sunsetting or something, but you cannot tell how many days or how many. So they were asking each other how much time we slept, even though they were not very sure. So that's why they are saying we have remained thus a day or a part of a day, because they were not sure about it. So we'll read the next paragraph, then we'll get to know more about them. Who wants to read next?
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
But then they realized that to determine the length of their sleep is of no consequence. They leave that point aside, just like a believer should do in any matter of no specific importance. They turn to something more practical. They are hungry and have some money which they carried on them when they left home. Their discussions take a different turn. They said, "Your Lord knows best how long you have remained thus. Let then one of you go with these silver coins to the town, and let him find out what food is purest there, and bring you some of it." Verse 19. The most natural reaction in the circumstances. One is to go to the city to bring back the best food available for them.
Can you read the next one? So I will complete.
Okay. They are, however, in an unusual position, and they have to be extra careful. They must not allow their people to find them out or discover their hiding place, for that would bring certain disaster. The people in authority in the city would stone them to death for their apostasy.
So what here we can see that they were in previously we saw they were in the cave and they were sleeping for a long time, but when they woke up, they asked each other how much time we slept. But when they realize that it's very hard to determine how long they slept, they just leave that matter on a side. And just like a believer, because a believer should do in any matter, and what a believer do, they don't go for those things which don't affect their faith, like about knowing the time, how much time they slept. it will not increase our faith or it will not decrease our faith. It is useless to know that. So a believer don't go for those things which will not increase them in faith. So a believer should go for those things which will increase them in their faith. Knowing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, knowing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's characteristics and the work, it is easy to increase our the faith. But if um, we are learning about some other for example, if we are learning an other language like Spanish or Turkish or something like that, which is not useful to understanding our Quran, it will be useless to understand. But if you are learning it, okay, if I will learn the language to increase my faith or to teach others as well in the different language, I can translate the Quran in the Spanish language or something. So it will increase your iman. And what other, when they woke up, they all were hungry, because when you sleep all night, in the morning the first thing you want to eat something. So they were also very hungry and they asked for the food. And they said that, okay, when you will go to the market, because when they left their community, they left far away and they didn't know which community they are and how the community will behave, where the cave is. So when they woke up, they thought that they are in still that time, and it might hurt them. If they will get to know, they will stone to death, or they will ask us to go back to their previous faith, which they don't want to. So they had some money, so they give some money to one person and give him advice that you should be very careful when you go in the town and find the purest food. You know what is the purest food? The halal food is the purest food. And halal means sometimes it is like zabiya halal. It should be zabiha. And the halal contains one more thing. It should be very, it should be clean. It should not be rotten. Okay, Ari. Chalo, yeah, Ari. So the food looks good, food tastes good, and it should be very pure. So these are the things which we have to look for, the purest food. So these were the things they were just discussing, and they didn't know what time is it and which era we are now. So they are just discussing and giving advice to them. So I want to test all of you the previous one, whatever you read, but I think that many of you are not ready or completed these pages. So I want all of you to revise the previous all pages, and I will test you tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, we will complete this page, this topic actually, and then we will I will test you for this, whatever we covered it. Okay, everyone is okay with me?
Yes.
Okay, so are you guys enjoying the learning about Surah Al-Khaf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Or do you want to give any feedback? Or is this good?
That's good.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. Jazakallahu khairan kaseera. Inshallah, we will complete it here. Just mark it down that we will start from the page 199, third paragraph.
Okay.
Okay, and you can cover up the previous one, and you can read the next one as well. So inshallah, we will start from here tomorrow, and when we'll complete this topic till 201, till how many were in the cave. So we will I will test you, inshallah. Okay,
Okay.
to complete here.
Okay.
Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.